cutting a piece of copper pipe. This is a very beginner video for somebody who's looking to become more handy with plumbing skills. And there's a lot of homes plumbed with a lot of copper pipe, and you might be wondering, how am I supposed to cut this stuff? Because if you try with like a hacksaw or sawzall, like you're probably going to make a mess of things, because you should be using a pipe cutter or tube cutter. And they come in, basically these two varieties here are the most common ones. There we go. You're just cutting small pipe, presumably, if you're new into the world of doing plumbing. If you have to cut larger pipe, then you probably have a tool like this. For something small, this 1/2-inch copper pipe, which is like the supply lines for most hot and cold water in houses that use copper pipe versus like PEX plumbing or other alternatives that are becoming more popular these days. So I happen to need to cut a piece of copper pipe. I thought you might like to see it done in case you haven't and you're not sure how to do it. So I need to cut this 90 off of here, and I don't really care where this cut is. If I did, I would make a pencil mark and measure things out, but for me, I just need that 90 off of there. So I take my tool and I open it up wider than the pipe itself, and that's just with this little, turn this little guy right here. Put it around the pipe and tighten her up. Okay, so when I tighten this up, I did not crank it snug. I could crank it more if I wanted, but I don't need to do that. It's gonna be a little awkward balanced here, but so now I'm just gonna do a rotation. Just turn this little tool right on the spot, and he's just a little loose, so I'm gonna give him, that was maybe 1/8 of a turn more. And I'm gonna go again, maybe 2 passes around this time. And then I'm gonna go, that was a little more than 1/8 of a turn, maybe 1/4 of a turn. 1/4 of a turn again, to maybe a 1/3 pass because I can feel some resistance still. Yeah, I didn't get much in the way of a less than 1/8 that time, so I'll give her a couple more spins. Another 1/8 or 1/4, somewhere in between there. I suspect the blade on my tool is dull. Ooh. So it's a handy little tool. You'll find that the little ones are probably where it's at for you unless you're into a lot of larger work, just because it's, you need some room for clearance to spin the thing around. In most places where your plumbing runs, you don't have room to spin big wrenches around and things like that. So these little tube cutters or copper tube cutters are where it's at here. This one is sized 1/8 to 7/8 of an inch, if you had to look up what size you were looking for. Well, I hope you found this information helpful. If you did, please like this video, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and remember, I am technically Steve, and it would technically help you to like and subscribe. I'll see you soon.